So coming to one use case kind of thing, we'll take ransomware because that is the most dangerous thing we are facing now. Our system, entire system will be getting encrypted and they'll ask some ransom in the form of bitcoins. Only when you send the bitcoin or when you transfer the bitcoins to that attacker, then only he will send you some a key. Using that key your files can be decrypted. Okay, so we'll see how it is possible. So initially attacker may send some spam. In the previous slides we have seen when the compromised systems are bots, they will try to send some spam messages or scam something. So what will happen now? User will receive that email or spam through the email. Now user will try to visit the link available in the email, that is the spam email or spam link. What will happen now? Whenever this user has visited this spam website, immediately user downloads a malware or attacker exploits the vulnerability with the user's browser or system. Whenever you visit this, immediately they will be verifying your system's fingerprint. Fingerprint is nothing but what operating system you are using, what applications are installed in your system, and what are the versions of those things. Based on all these parameters, they will try to identify whether this operating system is having any vulnerability or this application is having any vulnerability. Like that, they will try to analyze, and once it is analyzed, they will try to send some of the exploits, that means attacks, onto your system. And then what will happen? After downloading, the malware will be unpacked and executed. By default, the malwares and all will be in the encrypted format and packed format to reduce the size and easy and faster transfer of malware from remote system to your system. So once it is downloaded, that will get decrypted or unpacked and then it will get executed. So once it is executed, what will happen? Now it will give you the remote connection of your system to the attacker. What will happen with the remote connection? The attacker will try to download some of the required infrastructure, which is like public key, that is for the encryption. He would like to encrypt all the files on your system. So for that he will be using public private key pair. So public key will be downloaded here, and once it is downloaded, what he will do? All the files are encrypted and the user will get the notification for sending ransom on so and so address. So this ransom will be in terms of bitcoins. What will happen? Whenever the attacker has received these bitcoins, immediately he will send the key for decryption. Key is nothing but a secret, like our password. So only with that key we can decrypt our files. So if you store some important information which cannot be deleted or something like that, then in that case what you require, what you need to do here, you need to pay some ransom to the attacker and you need to get the secret key for the decryption. Then only you will get the access to your files. Otherwise you will be losing all your files. So losing in terms of visibility, but it will be available in your system only, but you will not be able to open or you will not be able to view the contents of the file. Right? So this is the typical anatomy of ransomware. So might be many of us have heard about these kind of attack scenarios and all. But what we need to understand here is we should not trust anyone, should not click on the links available in the emails, and even if you visit any of the websites, if you are going to click on some of the links in the website also, first of all you need to check whether it is a genuine one or not. Okay, those might be the trap locations where you can visit the compromised website through which the malware will be downloaded onto your system. Okay, that is the precaution we need to take for avoiding these kind of ransomware attacks or any other attacks. So this is the ransom message displayed to the user. So he is asking for zero point 0.5 bitcoins. The value of one bitcoin is approximately some 10 to 12 lakhs. 0.5 bitcoins is nothing but we need to pay 5 to 6 lakhs, right? So that is the amount he is asking to give the secret key for decryption. So this is one more way of showing it. So they are showing these many US dollars we require, and on this public address, public key address, we want you to transfer the money. So like this, various types of messages and applications they will use, and even in mobiles also we have this ransomware. So they have initially what they have done is like on behalf of this US related FBI, they have created one fake FBI warning on user's lock screen. So by clicking on that, you will get some ransomware onto your mobile. Okay. So here also it is like rather than email, they are sending some spam links or warnings. When you click on that, automatically your mobile will get compromised, and he can do anything. Attacker can do anything because it is already under his control. So this is one of the ransomware attack happened on Apache server. So I'll just go through how it will be internally attacking at the code level. I'll not explain entire code, just some two or three scenarios. Yeah. Before going that, actually we'll discuss what is the normal browsing pattern normal procedure for browsing the websites, and what will be the malicious pattern. Okay. So this is a normal one. User will be searching for a legitimate website. Whenever we request for that website like google.com, what will happen? Our request will be gone to the Google server, and now it will try to send us the web page. So here this left side one is trying to search for a page. So the request has gone to the server. Now the server is sending the web page here in terms of some bits in terms of zeros and ones. Okay. So all those will be reaching to our system or the normal user. Here the corresponding web page will be loaded in my web browser. Okay. And then the loaded web web page, or we can even say that as a script code, because that will be some program code, HTML or JavaScript, some kind of code. So that received code is processed by the user's browser, and the website is displayed on the user's browser. This is the normal process. User requests the server will send the web page, and that web page will be processed by the user's browser. And now the browser will be displaying that entire web page to the user. Now coming to the malicious process, what will happen now? The victim does not know about whether the website is compromised or not. He will simply search for a web page. Now the request is going to some compromised website here. So you might have heard about previously we have so many spam websites. On behalf of ICICIbank.com, some spam website is like IC1CI, right? In place of I, they have kept 1. Now many of the people will not be able to recognize that small change in the URL, so they will click on that. What will happen now? It will come to the compromised website. It will send you the normal web page in addition with some of the malwares. Okay. So now what will happen? This is being received to the user's browser. You will try to process both normal web page related code as well as the malicious code received to the user. Now once the malicious code is executed, what it will do? It will try to analyze your system, and your system parameters will be sent to the attacker's site. From there it will try to download the corresponding malwares. If your system is Windows, it will send Windows related malware. If your system is Linux, it will send some Linux related malware. If you are using Adobe Reader some version 8, it will send some viruses of Adobe Reader version 8. Like that, based on the system's configuration, it will be sending only the corresponding malware. Not all the dump of malware it will send. Based on your current systems and parameters, it will only download the corresponding malware and it will try to execute that on your system. Okay, so that is what I explained here. So the flow of infection of this any kind of malware is like user has visited a buggy website where a hidden redirection is injected. So whenever it is visited, the server will try to send some exploit payload. So what will happen now? The payload will be downloaded and executed on user system. Once the payload is executed, it will return the shell access. That is nothing but access to your system. And attacker will be sending some commands on this access. So it will be always listening for the attacker's commands. Okay. Now, whatever attacker says, your system will do that. Because now he got the access to your system. He can do anything, whatever he would like to do in your system. This will be the typical flow of infection. There will be so many intermediate levels of this redirections and all. But in simple way, these are the steps involved. So this is one of the ransomware attack. So inside the web page, what they have injected is this is a PHP page. If you can see here, the page height is 1 point, width is 1 point, and visibility is hidden. So because of this, what will happen? It will be injected as part of a genuine website. So you will be able to see only the genuine website, and it will be in the hidden state. Right? So it will be in the hidden state. Immediately, whenever your web page is loaded, it will try to load the functionality from this .php file. Okay, whenever you are browsing that web page, immediately it will try to load this .php file, but you will not be able to see anything. Why? Because it is in the hidden visibility. Okay, like this, they can hide the code inside your web page. You will not be aware, knowing about what is going in background. You will not be aware of anything what is happening inside. Okay. So once this redirection, it goes to this PHP page, it will try to analyze your system parameters, and then based on that, it will try to send this kind of malware. So this is in the form of encoded malware. This is encoded JavaScript. So you will not be able to see anything here. It is in the encoded format. So once it is downloaded to your system, it will try to unpack or decrypt or decode, and then it will get executed on your system, and it will give control to the attacker. Okay, so like this, web pages will be infected. We will not be knowing about all these infections. Why? Because we will be looking at the only front page where all these properties are hidden. Right? So this is one typical example how they can hide the things in the web pages, and how can they download the malware exploit and all. If you require more details and if you are interested, you can just search for this name, Buggy Ransomware via Apache's Black Hole Exploit. So there are so many nice analysis available. But this is a very high level abstraction analysis. We can even decode this, and we can know what is happening in the exploit. We can understand and we can stop that infection. So many things are there. So coming to our next point, what are the various entry points of malware? So as we previously discussed, majority of applications will be the entry point of malware. Why? Because while downloading the application, let us say now if you enter something like VLC media player, what will happen? It will show so many URLs, so many websites or web links, right? So if you are going to a untrusted website, it will be having the VLC media player. In addition with that, it will also download some malware into your system. right? That may be already included inside the application itself, or separately it will be downloading the malware in a hidden fashion. Okay, so always you need to go to the official website of that application. From there only you need to download the application. That is always better, right? And if you are using some Linux kind of operating system, you can trust the repositories maintained by the distributors. Just for example, if you are using some Ubuntu operating system, you might have heard about this Ubuntu Linux and all. So Ubuntu will maintain their own repository. Yeah. Sir, basically you are asking about how to remove malware of browser tabs keep on opening on their own. Sir, that is because the current tab, whatever page you have, that is actually compromised, or it has some of the redirections available in it. So that redirection will take you to another browser or another tab. Both possibilities are there. So now if you would like to stop that redirections and all, sometimes it may be only related to the advertisements. It will take you to another tab or another browser. That is only with respect to the advertisements. Sometimes what will happen, it will take you to some compromised websites. Sometimes it will take you to some porn websites, adult websites. So like that, there are various kinds of redirections. So there are some settings in the browsers, disable pop-up. Some kind of settings are there so that it will not open anything from our existing web page. You need to re-enable that, then only it will open that additional pop-ups or windows or tabs. Okay, sir. So using the settings only we can avoid this, because we are not sure about which website is compromised, which website is not compromised and all. Or else we need to have some good antivirus solutions or some security solutions where it can try to analyze all the browsing websites and it will give you the alert on malicious websites. Okay. And the second entry point is portable storage devices, the USBs. In the previous session also we have heard about these things, these applications, USBs, and using USBs for personal and official usage. So generally in many of the home PCs we will be using some outdated software, and some of the people may not be connected to the internet. So their softwares will be very much vulnerable, right? Because they will not be updating it. So whenever they connect this pen drive, or sometimes they may connect it to the internet and they will try to immediately remove it because of no bandwidth and all. So whenever they have connected and they have visited some websites, some malware might have already downloaded. Now what will happen? Because of no internet connectivity, it will not be able to update your software and it will not be able to update your antivirus. So because of that reason, what will happen? Your system is already compromised, and even though you have antivirus system installed in your system, it will not be able to handle that new virus because of no updates, right? Now such kind of systems will try to infect whatever is connected to that system. Now we are taking our pen drives and we are connecting that pen drive to our infected system. Immediately it will infect the pen drive, right? Now you are bringing that pen drive to office and connecting in the office system. What will happen? Even though your network is very strong and robust and your system is having some updated softwares and all, it will try to infect your system through that USB. Right? Now that infection might be not because of the applications, it might be because of some other reasons, some of configuration settings and all. Right? So like that, the infection will be expanded. So that is also one possible way of infection, portable storage devices. And the third one is web browser. How it is, web browser is the key for this malware. So most probably this is by visiting some of the compromised websites, and sometimes what will happen, our extensions, our add-ons will be having in the browser. If that add-on is a malicious one, you have installed by mistake by clicking on some links and all. Now if that add-on is not a trusted one, then it will be having the privileges of your web browser, so it may track your browsing pattern, and it may steal your sensitive information, and it may cause some harm to your financials, right? So the web browser is also the entry point of some malware or anything. So all these are very important to us. So you need to choose one of the best available antivirus solution, or all the system related components needs to be properly configured and secure and up to date. All these things you need to ensure. Then only you can avoid this malware. And there are some special kind of malware which is called as zero-day malware. So generally all of us will be having some antivirus solutions installed in our system. So that antivirus solutions, what they will be having is, for every reported virus, till now whatever the reported malware is there, that may be a virus, worm or whatever it is, whatever are reported, all the behaviors of those reported malware will be available in the form of virus database. So your antivirus will be maintaining the database, and inside your system, if such kind of pattern is detected, immediately it will try to block it, and it will give you the alert saying that you got some system got some infection, right? So that is okay, that is well and good. If we are getting already reported viruses or malware into our system, our antivirus will be 100% detecting. Maybe not 100%, maybe some 90%. Okay, but there is a chance that our some software or application inside my system is vulnerable to some vulnerability, is having some vulnerability, and which is not yet reported by any of the researcher or the vendors. Okay, so there is a vulnerability existing in my software, but it is not known to anyone. Okay, now what will happen if that unknown vulnerability is identified by a attacker? What will happen? Attacker will not reveal it to the vendor. Attacker will not reveal it to the antivirus people. He will just try to use that vulnerability, and he will try to compromise your system. Okay, zero-day means it is not yet identified, or it is not yet known to us. Whichever is not known to us, that we can call it as zero-day. If it is already reported and known vulnerability, all the antivirus people will be having that behavior of that vulnerability in the database, and even vendor will be getting a fix of that and giving update to your software, right? So if these kind of zero-day malwares are there, and these are getting detected by some attacker, now he has the chance to infect or compromise your system. Okay, so there are so many zero-day malware attacks happen. So these are some of the statistics with respect to the 2020. So these many zero-day vulnerabilities are identified in the popularly used websites and softwares, right? So zero days detected in the wild by vendor itself. These are by vendor. But if the same zero days are detected by the attacker, what will happen? We can't assume that, because he can do whatever he requires, or he can access your system however he wants your system to behave. Anything he can do. Okay, this is one special kind of malware. We don't have any signature of these kind of malwares in our system, and the antivirus people will not be able to detect it, and vendor also will not be able to release the patch immediately, because he also needs to understand what is the vulnerability, and what is the cause of the vulnerability, and what is the mechanism to fix the vulnerability, and that needs to be implemented, and that needs to be released as a update, and your software needs to be updated. These many cycles are there in between, right? So these are very, very dangerous. Zero-day malware is very, very dangerous.